Greetings everyone. Well, it's Blu-ray and DVD update time again here on the Multimedia Chronicles. I recently picked up a trio of titles for the collection that, for me, kind of celebrate different aspects of Canadian culture. So call it a Canadiana update. So we have a movie, a pair of documentaries, and a TV series. What are they? Stay tuned and find out. Canadiana, today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. So our first title today is one that's pretty special to me personally. It was a favorite movie of mine when I was a kid, and was part of a series called, it was actually the first in a series of films under the blanket title of Tales for All. And it was the brainchild of film producer Rock Demers, who was a film producer out of Quebec here in Canada. And the idea was to create films that could be exported outside of Quebec. Now, at that point, Quebec cinema was very much self-contained within Quebec. It didn't sort of reach beyond there, but he wanted to create films that had a broader appeal, but that were also family-friendly, so they were family films that, you know, everybody could enjoy. So the first of these was entitled The Dog Who Stopped the War. Yeah, this was a really special one for me because as a kid growing up in Winnipeg, which was, you know, the prairies of Canada, very harsh winters there, and then also spending a good chunk of my childhood in Toronto, which also has pretty harsh winters. The main difference being the winters are drier in Manitoba, but wetter in Ontario, if that makes sense. In Ontario, it's the kind of cold that sticks to you, you know, like it makes you feel even colder than it actually is. In Winnipeg, the cold didn't stick to you, but it was a lot colder, so you had like the wind chill would just freeze you to the bone. I loved winter as a kid. Christmas was my favorite holiday. My friends and I would go tobogganing all the time. I was huge on tobogganing. Suffered many an injury tobogganing over the years, but worth it. Every single one of them was worth it. But the other thing I really liked to do was build snow forts. Yeah. So, The Dog Who Stopped the War, which came out, I guess, when I was like 12, 13 years old, so just right on the cusp of, you know, the tail end of my childhood and heading into teenagedom. And basically, it's a movie about a bunch of kids who, on their winter break, build a big snow fort, and they stage a mock war between, you know, one faction of kids versus the other faction of kids, and they kind of fight for control over the snow fort. But to me, none of that even mattered. It was just the fact that it was a movie completely centered around this awesome snow fort. So for me, The Dog Who Stopped the War was just Snow Fort, the movie. And yeah, needless to say, I watched it many, many times as a kid. And as I was doing a big shopping spree recently, I found out that Canadian International Pictures, distributed through Vinegar Syndrome, recently put out a special, 40th anniversary Blu-ray of The Dog Who Stopped the War, which was great. Cat's feeding time. So, let's take a little look at this edition here, and you can... Is it done? Yeah. Let's take a look at this at this edition here, and you can see the beautiful slipcover with all the custom artwork they did, and we'll take a little look at the contents as well. So there's the slipcover, and as is often the case with Vinegar Syndrome releases, absolutely gorgeous slipcover. Nice spot gloss for the title. And then if we just flip it around, you can see we get more artwork on the back. So this is, of course, featuring artistic renditions of many of the kids who are in the film. And I should mention also, on one side we have The Dog Who Stopped the War, the English title, and then on the other side we have the original French title, La Guerre des Tuques. So, which I guess directly translates to The War of Tuques. You can't get much more Canadian than that. So we slip it out, There we go. So with the actual cover inside, we do have the original French title. Now, when I was growing up, this would be a pretty popular one to show on TV, especially in the winter. And I always saw it as The Dog Who Stopped the War with the English dub. So the Blu-ray was actually the first time I've ever seen it in the original French, so that was quite a treat. And if we just flip it around to the back, we'll quickly take a look at the contents here. I'll read the back to you as well, just so you can kind of get a sense of what a big deal this film was when it came out. Yeah, so it is indeed the 40th anniversary special edition. As the Christmas holidays begin, a group of 10 war-obsessed kids have a wave of inspiration. What if they spend the next 2 weeks engaged in a simulated war, armed only with shields, wooden swords, snowballs, and a fierce sense of competition? With a bounty chest waiting for the winners, the two sides gradually grow in size, and the war grows in importance, taking over all aspects of their lives. But the sense of fun and excitement soon turns to something far darker, culminating in a tragic event that ensures this war will never be forgotten. One of Canada's most beloved and unusual family films, André Melançon's La Guerre des Tuques launched Contes pour tous, which is Tales for All, the career-spanning series that made producer Roch Demers, Operation Beurre de Pinottes, a legend. Featuring battle sequences both playful and harrowing, this film brings the imaginative world of children vividly to life, with a genre movie sense of urgency, thanks in part to the memorable synth score by Germain Gauthier from Pinball Summer. Recalling the kid-centric world of Charlie Brown while anticipating the mischief and melancholy of Home Alone, La Guerre des Tuques is festive family filmmaking at its best. So there you go. That gives you a little bit of a sense of it. It's actually a really good description of it, kind of a mix of Charlie Brown and Home Alone. Yeah, and oddly, they don't even mention the snow fort on the back. It's like, that was the most important part to me. But yeah, that was the thing about this movie, and especially rewatching it recently. I couldn't wait to watch it when I got it. It's like, oh, childhood favorite, you're going straight in the Blu-ray player. But watching it again recently, yeah, I realize now why the film resonated so much, and it really is because it really does have a lot of heart to it. Like, you really feel not just the passion of the filmmakers and such, but the relationships between the kids, the friendships and rivalries that develop feel very genuine. It really just feels like you're watching a bunch of kids playing war. And, you know, they're all great. A lot of them had never acted before, so this was their first film. And it's just terrific. I cannot possibly recommend it highly enough. So if you're looking for a good family film to watch, maybe around Christmas time, this is a really good one to check out. And if you're not big on subtitles, it does include the English dub as well. So let's just take a quick look at the special features here. So scanned and restored in 2K from the original 35mm camera negative by Elephant, Mémoire du cinéma québécois, includes the theatrical cut and the extended cut. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It actually has 2 cuts of the film too, so needless to say I watched the extended cut in both French and English. Audio commentary featuring author and film historian Keir Lejanis, writer and film critic Ralph Elowani, and special guests. La Guerre des Tuques au fil du temps from 2009, an 81-minute feature-length documentary celebrating the film's 25th anniversary with a new introduction by director Marie-Hélène Copty from 2003, 4 minutes interview there. Love and War from 2023, 37 minutes, which is new interviews with stars Marie-Pierre Adamor and Cedric Jourde. They played the 2 kids who were kind of the leaders of both factions. Really, really terrific, both of them. An Important Message, which is 12 minutes from 2023. A new interview with screenwriter Roger Canton. New audio interview with composer Germain Gauthier from 2023, 16 minutes. Archival interview with producer Roch Demers from 1999, 8 minutes. Archival interviews with Melançon and 10 members of the cast, 8 minutes. Deleted scenes in French and English, only 2 minutes of those, but hey, something's better than nothing. Theatrical trailers for La Guerre des Tuques and 4 other Melançon films, 10 minutes. English theatrical trailer for Cantin's La Forteresse Suspendue from 2001. Booklet featuring a new essay on producer Nicole Robert by Fantasia programmer Marc Lamotte, plus an extended interview with Demers and Jord, reversible cover artwork, and English SDH subtitles. Yeah, La Fortress Suspendue, or The Hidden Fortress, no relation to the Akira Kurosawa film, is kind of a soft sequel to this. It's a similar idea where two groups of kids decide to stage a mock war. In this case, I think it's during the summer. I haven't seen the film. I can't find it on home video anywhere, but I did find it online. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching that. And apparently it does have a lot of the kids from this come back as the parents of the kids in The Hidden Fortress. So kind of a nice little connection there. I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out whenever I get around to get around to it. I hope it gets a nice release as well. Yeah, so the reversible cover artwork, we just have the same artwork that's on the slip cover. I think it's on both sides there. We have, oh no, it just has the one cover art, but otherwise the same contents listed there. So we have two discs, one for the movie, one for the special features. This really is, like, I was stunned to see that it got such a massively deluxe edition, which is wonderful. And we have this terrific booklet here as well that has all kinds of stuff about the film. It has an interview with Marie-Pierre Demers and Cedric Jord, who are the two kids there. You can see them together there. And on the cover, you can see one of them looking over the edge of the snow fort as some of the other kids are advancing on them. But yeah, it's great stuff. I love this movie so much. And you can see another. So there's like some photos from the film, and this is a terrific interview. They basically, you know, this has become such a huge part of their lives. Like, I don't know that they both did very much acting after this. A few things here and there, but this is the movie everybody always asks them about. And this little girl here, who is absolutely charming in it, actually went on to become a producer in her adult life. So that's pretty cool. And yeah. It's great. I love this film so much. So it was great to see it get the absolute royal treatment from Canadian International Pictures, distributed through Vinegar Syndrome. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking this out if you haven't seen it before. It's absolutely delightful. Now, the Tales for All series, technically speaking, this is the first of them, the very first Tales for All. However, Rock Demers did produce another show called The Christmas Martian. It was just an animated, I think partly animated, partly live action Christmas special in 1971. And that was apparently retroactively added to the Tales for All series. So that's basically number 0, whereas this is the first one. And since 1984, the series has been going strong with lots of other movies. Some you might know, The Peanut Butter Solution, Tommy Tricker and the Stamp Traveler, The Great Land of Small. Yeah, they did a whole bunch of different ones, and most of them you can find on home video these days in one form or another. I don't know that all of them have had this kind of deluxe treatment, but you can at least see the films. So that is The Dog Who Stopped the War. I wanted to start with this one because it's probably the most special to me personally out of all the 3 we got today. Next up, we have another one from Canadian International Pictures, but featuring a non-Canadian personality who you may know, Buster Keaton. Yes, good old Buster Keaton. This actually has one of his final films in it, which was a short film called The Railrodder. And let me just give you a look here. So The Railrodder I actually saw on, I think it was the National Film Board of Canada YouTube channel. And I'd read an article about it and it sounded interesting. It's basically just about this old man, played by Buster Keaton, who decides to just go across Canada on this railway track with a railrodder, which is just a single seat little engine, essentially, that rides along train tracks. And, you know, in typical Buster Keaton fashion, there's lots of, you know, physical comedy, and it's largely played as a silent film. He doesn't have any dialogue or anything in it, but of course, which is appropriate because Buster was very much a silent actor and kind of stuck to that through most of his career. even well into the sound era. So this includes the railrodder, but it also includes a documentary about the making of it, which is wonderful because you get all of this insight into, how they put it all together and what the idea was, and all about Buster essentially at the very tail end of his career. Absolutely legendary comedic actor who brought just so much to the world of cinema, not just comedy, but cinema and stunts and everything. He really broke a lot of ground, especially in his early silent days. So if you're a fan of Buster Keaton, this is definitely a good one to check out. So let's just take a quick look at what all is on it here. So from 1965, we have Buster Keaton Rides Again. In the fall of 1964, just over a year before his death, Buster Keaton traveled to Canada to make The Railrodder, a silent short that would turn out to be one of his final films. Documenting this mobile production in fascinating and unexpected detail, Buster Keaton Rides Again offers a rare glimpse of the comedy legend's temperament, philosophies, hobbies, marriage, his third, and occasionally combative creative process. Canadian International Pictures fondly presents this intimate look at one of cinema's most enduring legends. In addition, this disc includes The Railrodder and 6 other shorts by director and Buster Keaton Rides Again co-star Gerald Potterton from The Rainbow Boys and Heavy Metal. So yeah, I mean, that sounds absolutely delightful. So we'll get like some rare insight into Keaton's actual creative process and so forth. And man, sounds like a real treat for Buster Keaton fans. So let's take a look at the second feature that's on here. The second feature is from 1966, and it's called Helicopter Canada. Made in celebration of the Canadian centennial, this Oscar-nominated documentary offers a stunning aerial exploration of the country's vast and varied landscape. Featuring impressive widescreen cinematography by director Eugene Boyko, amusingly irreverent commentary, and even a cameo by the Beatles, this enchantingly oddball time capsule brings Canadiana to new heights. In honor of the film's debt to the sprawling cinerama travelogues of the 50s, this disc also includes a presentation of Helicopter Canada in the smilebox format, simulating the effect of a curved screen. Yeah, so basically a cinerama movie, about an hour long, all about, just the sprawling landscapes of Canada as seen from a helicopter. I mean, that sounds awesome. And I love that they include the smilebox version as well, so you'll get the idea of how it would have looked on a cinerama screen. And also with smilebox, anything filmed in cinerama, it's basically a really extreme wide-angle lens. Smilebox kind of corrects the way the screen looks, so things don't appear distorted on the edges, they appear normal, much as you would see them on a cinerama screen. Now, a cinerama, for those who don't know, was basically an attempt in the 50s to get people's butts back in theaters because, of course, television was happening, and they were concerned that people would just stay at home and watch stuff at home and not come to the theaters anymore. So it was a means to get people back into the theaters. That's actually how widescreen started as well, was to get people back in theaters, which also came out in the 50s. So the idea with Cinerama is it was extreme widescreen. You want to talk about extreme aspect ratio? A full Cinerama image is a 3:1 aspect ratio. So it's actually the size of 3 full-frame images side by side. It's the widest widescreen you can have, basically. So a lot of big movies were shown on Cinerama screens. I know Ben-Hur was, 2001 was, Lawrence of Arabia was, but those were still, they were filmed in regular widescreen, but also shown on Cinerama screens for that additional spectacle. But the big thing that you often saw in Cinerama films was travelogues, because it was a great way to see these wonderful landscapes of the world in stunning detail, because you literally have 3 times the resolution of a standard film frame because you got 3 of them side by side. So it was terrific for things like sprawling vistas and whatnot. Now, I actually do have a feature film that was done in that format. How the West was won. I talked about this a million years ago when I first got it. But this was my first experience with smilebox, and I learned a lot about cinerama and how that worked. I didn't really know much about it at the time. But How the West was won was notable because it was the first sort of dramatic feature film natively filmed in cinerama. And might be the only one, actually. So you'll notice in those types of films, especially a dramatic film like that, all the action tends to be confined more or less to the center of the screen, and then the sides are more for just kind of additional scenery and ambience and whatnot. So you didn't see a lot of like narrative-driven films in cinerama. It was mostly about spectacle and experience, much like a lot of IMAX films are nowadays. So that's what this is. Helicopter Canada was one of those types of travelogue films that is just meant to be an hour of spectacle, essentially. So let's take a quick look at the special features here. So for both films, we have new 2K transfers from the 35mm interpositives. We have an alternate 2.76 to 1 and smilebox presentations of Helicopter Canada. Audio commentary with Gerald Potterton and David DeVolpe on Buster Keaton Rides Again and The Railrodder. Hors d'oeuvre, which is a short film from 1960, 7 minutes. My Financial Career from 1962, 7 minutes. Christmas Tree Decoration from 1963, 5 minutes. The Ride, 1963, 7 minutes. The Railrodder, of course, 1965, 25 minutes. The Awful Fate of Melpomenus Jones from 1983, 8 minutes. And a bonus short, Canada the Land from 1970, 8 minutes long. And we have a booklet featuring a new interview with Gerald Potterton, reversible cover artwork, English SDH titles for all 10 films. So what an absolute treasure trove of like Canadian sort of rarities. So if we take a look here, we have lovely artwork with Buster, and then the helicopter up above. And then I guess if we take a look here, yeah, so the reversible artwork is we have Helicopter Canada. For the lift of your life. See Canada as never before. So, pretty cool. But that's, so I guess it's, yeah, so we have one cover for Buster Keaton Rides Again, and then a cover for Helicopter Canada. And the disc art kind of represents both. How clever. Anyway, if we just take a little look at the booklet here, we got Buster on the cover. Whoops. Some more information about the restoration on the back. I'm not going to zoom in on all these, just kind of give you a general sense. So here's Gerald Potterton himself, the director who brought these to us. And some behind the scenes footage with Buster and his wife. Very cool. And some more behind the scenes footage with Buster. Yeah, this is fantastic. Like what a great disc. And we got some just some pictures from some of the other shorts. So some of them are animated, looks like. And some more from the shorts. And yeah. Fantastic. So anyway, if you're a fan of Buster Keaton and little oddities of Canadian film, check this one out. Buster Keaton Rides Again, aka Helicopter Canada, available from Canadian International Pictures, distributed through Vinegar Syndrome. Now, last but most certainly not least, I've been wanting to get this show for so long. It was kind of a bit of a holy grail for a while, because it just was not available. Like, you could find janky fan recordings on YouTube and stuff, but that wasn't the same. So, out of nowhere, from VEI, we finally have the complete series, all 3 seasons of the Canadian sitcom Check It Out. Yes, starring Maxwell Smart himself, Don Adams. And you know that is the sole reason I wanted this. I'll be honest with you, Check It Out is not a great sitcom. It's, you know, the humor often seems very forced, and yeah, but for what it is, it's fine. It's an entertaining little time waster, and certainly has its moments. And Don Adams, I mean, essentially in the twilight of his career here, was in fine form. So essentially, he plays the manager of a grocery store, and it's just about, you know, the shenanigans with the staff and just the various crazy customers and whatnot they have to deal with, and the battle axe of a district manager that comes in to make their lives miserable from time to time. So let's just take a quick look at the back here, and I'll just read the back to you and you can get a little rundown of it. So check it out. Takes viewers on a riotous romp through Cobb's, a supermarket where Howard Bannister, played by the iconic Don Adams, battles to maintain order amidst the chaos. Alongside him is Edna Mosley, played by Dinah Christie, his trusty sidekick and love interest, as they face the daily challenges brought on by a cast of quirky characters. From the endearing yet clueless stock boy to the consistently grumpy cashier, each member of the Cobb's team adds to the mayhem with their antics. Filmed in front of a live studio audience, the show delivers a relentless stream of slapstick comedy, witty one-liners, and an abundance of puns that keep the laughs rolling. Inspired by the British sitcom Tripper's Day from comedy writer Brian Cook, Check It Out brings its own unique flair to the supermarket setting. Cook's expertise, honed from his work on U.S. hits like Three's Company and Too Close for Comfort, lays the foundation for this uproarious comedy. Check it out! You'll be treated to a comedic adventure where every corner of Cobb's holds a surprise, from the produce section to the frozen foods aisle. Check It Out proves that sometimes the best comedy is found right in your local supermarket. So grab your shopping cart and prepare to laugh your way down the aisles with Howard, Edna, and the rest of the zany Cobb's crew. Yeah, so I mean, it's alright. I don't know that I'd call it an uproarious comedy. I think they used that word like 3 times. No, they used riotous and uproarious and zany. I'm probably being too harsh, but it's a fun series. I vaguely remember watching bits of it when it originally aired. And again, I mainly just watched it for Don Adams. I mean, for me, it was like, I don't know, how do you go from being like the ultimate super spy, Maxwell Smart, to being the manager of a grocery store? So, I don't know, maybe this is Max in his later years after retiring from Control. Who knows? However you want to rationalize it, I like it for what it is. Sometimes you just want something cheesy, you know? So inside, I don't think there's anything. Yeah, this is it's reminiscent of the old Mill Creek releases. We have the discs in double-sided sleeves, but you know, again, they're not touching each other or anything. Each season is on 2 discs, 22 half-hour episodes per season. And there we go. And they even went by the colors that I generally like to assign to these things, where it's red for season 1, blue for season 2, and green for season 3. They did the same thing for Babylon 5, I remember, in its original DVD releases. And I've seen some other shows that actually follow the same color scheme. I don't know why. I don't know why it's always red for season 1 and blue for season 2 and green for season 3. But if a show release ever varies from that pattern, it just bugs me. So it's like, why did you make season 3 orange? Like, I don't know. And there. And there. And there we go. So, a nice little trio of Canadian treats. Yes, highly recommended. Highly recommended. Recommended if you're as much of a nut for Don Adams as I am. Well, that is it from me to you for now. Hope you enjoyed. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara.